Greetings, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. My usual time is 6 to 7. As alone as of now, Saturday night. I don't like the I don't like StreamYard. Sorry, I don't like Streamlabs. Right, I prefer StreamYard. Every minute the stream is like cutting in and out and in and out. Internet is here. Is no problem with internet. Um, at first I thought that the expander was too near to the internet box or internet area in which it actually comes into the house, but it's still cutting in and out. Yesterday I started a stream because I know that I was not going to be able to be for the full hour. Today I wanted to just do it last night. So those persons waking up this morning expecting the stream, they would have just signed on and they would have just enjoyed the conversation that was actually done the night before. But this was not so. I minutes in the stream last night and it just went. It just become choppy, and I'm not liking that. So I just decided that, listen, this is the last morning that I'm gonna be doing a stream. I am gonna be on well, in the mornings, right? I'm gonna be going on um uh but for now, let's see where it's at, right? Alright, so yesterday I actually stopped where I was looking at substrate, right? Still cutting in and out. Yesterday I know that I was going in. Alright, so let me continue. So I was at a reason why you would want to put a substrate within a system, right? Okay, I we were talking about the fact that it affects the pH of your aquarium. It helps to make the aquarium look a little aesthetic, beautiful. The beauty of the aquarium. It just resonates a good peaceful tone having a substrate. Also, the fish species in which you might have desire a substrate. For example, you have like loaches. They like to dig holes, right? They like to literally hide and mill around sand and all that. So sand substrate would be awesome. I would put like egg scatterer in a space where you have a lot of gravel work, right? Kettle is boiling. It's early. I need to get some tea. Give me a sec. Yeah, I have to go on the road early this morning, so um, I'm unable to, stay for the hour from 6 to 7. So as a result, that's why I was actually doing the stream. Alright, so we're talking about the whole substrate issue right now. Planted tanks require a substrate, right? The substrate, it should be, well, a typical substrate, should be an average of about 3 to 5 inches in thickness, And I think I was mentioning yesterday, well, in part one, the other section, in which you will see before this one is a take tool, because of the cutting off thing. Alright, so as I shared before, that whenever you're placing a substrate within an aquarium, there are certain things that you should be mindful of. One, the type of fish. Two, the plant, the depth, how you actually place it in. You should be mindful that the aesthetics actually resonate well. You want everything to click. You don't want the lights to actually be mirroring on the substrate, and it gives a wrong tone. I am not too fancy. I'm not too fancy in the substrate that have some colors that it's just weird. I mean, like I see aquariums with pink gravel. It might look cute in a way, but to me, you're not going to find pink gravel within the wild. So it's like sometimes when you put in substrate, you have to think about the type of fish that you're going to place in there, because the substrate itself can actually outshine the coloration of the fish. So you have to be careful. You have to be mindful of that, right? All right. So let's focus a little bit on, let's say you have gravel, right? Two things you must know: gravel, the edges must be smooth, right? And the reason why it must be smooth is that one, it might pierce the scale of the fish as the fish actually swims near to the substrate, right? You don't want the fish to be swimming, and because it goes too near to the substrate, lower on the substrate itself. The edges of the substrate actually causes the injury to the fish, right? And two, as I said before, the substrate is normally 3 to 5 inches in thickness. Hey, what going on, lunatic French? Ah, boss. Yesterday I start a stream, and it just I don't know if it's the program, the stream program. I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know what happened, but the entire system at my house works on the internet. The television, the phone, everything. So I don't know what happened, and everything was working at the time when it get cut off, and everything is working, the television, my kids was in class same way. So I don't know what exactly happened, but things happen, and I just decided, so I'm just gonna finish up in a short order. It's not gonna be long because I have to go on the road. So we're looking at substrate from yesterday. The reason why we have substrate, the different types of substrate. I mentioned them yesterday in part one, right? So to get a full sum as to what I am coming from, probably you can check out that. It's about 35 minutes long, and it's interesting, right? As you actually delve in it. Now we are at the whole idea of gravel substrate and plants, right? Gravel, as I said before, substrate within itself should be an average between 3 to 5 inches in thickness, right? You have to be careful and remember that gravel weighs a lot, right? That means your aquarium must be positioned or placed on a flat area that has no underlying I call it pebbles or anything at all, that when pressure is placed on the glass itself, it actually creates a hairline stress fracture. So therefore, after a while, let's say water start leaking from your aquarium, because with the weight of the substrate plus a little pebble or probably a little dust underneath the aquarium itself, you find that the base of the aquarium crack, and you get messed up. You have to change everything, right? So it's a little bit, it's a little bit weighty, right? If you're placing substrate within the aquarium for the main purpose of actually getting a planted aquarium, as I said before, it's normally between 1 to 2 millimeters. That is preferred, right? Because you want the plants to actually be able to penetrate the substrate, be loose enough to penetrate the substrate, so that the roots can actually, survive within that space, right? Some aquarists might prefer some coarser substrate, because as I said, I think it was yesterday, you have different types of substrate. You have peat, you have clay, you have loam, you have backyard dirt, you have gravel, you have leaf substrate, you have different shells, you have crushed corals, you have different type of substrate, right? And it depends on the purpose of the substrate, the type of fish that you're keeping, the water chemistry that you want to maintain, right? All of this will determine the type of substrate, that you actually placed in that aquarium space. Now plants are arranged according to their size, right? And the size of their roots, and place along like an imaginary line along a slope substrate. So normally within a slope substrate, like you have a little mountainside, you would have like the shallow section of the substrate accommodating small plants with small roots, and the larger plants with larger roots would like be behind, right? Now the trick with substrate is that sometimes you need to actually be creative. So you would actually place the soil probably about 2 inches or 3 inches in thickness along the base of the aquarium, right? And then you do your planting, and you actually you place your some fine gravels at the top. What that does, it to an extent, it kind of prevents the fish from actually digging into the soil itself and causing the aquarium to actually have a messy look. But for me, when I'm thinking about a substrate, placing aquarium plants within a substrate, I think of actually using trees, right? Trees that actually exist within the pet shop. You can get them. It depends on what you want, your design, right? I would put trays. I would put them in some probably. Trays are normally comes in size, so you can get trays like 2 inches tray, 3 inches tray. And what you would do, you actually put the soil in the tray, plant in the tray, right? And then now set up the aquarium, and then you place the trays into the aquarium. And after you place the trays into the aquarium, then now you with the plant, right? Then now you place some fine gravel on top of those trays, along the sides. So persons would be thinking that the entire aquarium, well, when they're looking at a particular angle, they will be thinking that the entire aquarium is covered with like fine gravel. But inside, in between the gravel itself, right, you have the trees with the plant, with the plants in it, right? So the gravel itself will be like a aesthetic type of look, and it allows a lot of things to happen. One, it allows egg scatterers to actually lay the eggs, and the possibility that fries may come to fruition, right? Two, you find that it's much easier for you to rearrange that aquarium space. If you actually literally put the soil into the aquarium itself, literally just pull the package with the soil and place it into the aquarium itself, and you do your planting and you do everything what you need to do. It's a little bit difficult to actually rearrange without messing up everything, right? One, and two, sometimes it can prove even very difficult moving that aquarium from one space to the next, because soil tends to be a little weighty when it's wet, right? So let's say that you want to move the location of your substrate from, you want to move how everything is projected in it. It's kind of a little bit more easier for me. Well, for me, I found that this was easier for me to do, right? Create get a tray with aquarium soil, place the plant in it, place the tray with the plant inside the aquarium, then you place fine gravels on the top, and that's an awesome way to actually get that thing working. Now, plants are arranged according to size, as I said before, right? And the I would say, yeah, I have seen persons have planted aquarium with very well, small aquariums that are planted, but it's a little bit more technical to have that, because you're gonna have a little, you have to be precise with the water chemistry, the arrangement, the whole setting up. It's a little bit, so I would leave that for the intermediate to expert aquarists. But for those persons who are considered like novice fish keepers, I think that probably a 25 or probably even a 40 gallon probably might work out in the in your best interest, right? So hey, wagwan. Yes, sometimes you might not want substrate at all, lunatic fish. That's true. For example, as I said yesterday in the share, that that myself and Aquafunk did a debate in peace, wherein which I actually shared. My side was I was looking no substrate, and I think he was looking at substrate, right? And it was a debate, and it was really awesome, right? It was competitive. He won, based on the votes that he got, and as I said before, to him, that he won because he had a way to move the crowd, but I think my arguments were better. Yes, having no substrate, to me, kind of helps in the maintenance aspect of your aquarium, right? For example, having, let's say, goldfish and Oscar in a no substrate aquarium, it's more easier for you to clean because you know that these fish are really messy, very untidy. So they will tend to mess up the entire place within a given day, or whatever. So you can easily siphon out the water within a bare bottom aquarium, whereas in a planted aquarium or in a substrate aquarium, because it's not every substrated aquarium have plants. In a substrate aquarium, you're now gonna have to move around the gravel or the sand to actually siphon out the water, and chances are you might still have some amount of trapped waste within it, or trapped food within the substrate, which when broken down, it creates a problem because it's gonna be ammonia, and it can be messy, right? A thing that I learned a few years ago though is that whenever sometimes you have some little gas bubbles, well, that comes up from the substrate. How this gas bubble occur? Waste falls within the rock, within the substrate, right? It's like within you have some little pockets where some little gas actually develop, and if you are not careful, these gas bubbles are pockets of some stuff, some chemical stuff. I don't know the chemistry of it. I'm not a science buff, right? Actually comes up periodically, and it actually helps to destroy the health of the fish. Um, and in addition, also fringe, be mindful that quarantine tanks and hospital tanks. I have actually did a video on what are quarantine tanks and what are hospital tanks. Some persons say that quarantine tanks right, but I think that both of them have different purpose, right? Hospital tank is for sick fish, and quarantine tank is to actually observe your fish to see if your fish is sick. It's just like when you go to the hospital, you're admitted versus you are on observation, right? So it's two different things, but a lot of persons, a lot of aquarists actually use one tank for both, right? In a quarantine tank and in a hospital tank, you wouldn't really put a substrate because you want to see the fish to see if the fish is sick. So you want to observe the fish. You want to spend time to look at the fish behavior, and if possible to treat the fish so as to get rid of certain illnesses, parasites, etc., right? So when you have a situation like that, right, you won't really put any substrate because it's more difficult, right? Because if there's any parasite, it can be lurking within the substrate itself. So even if you have actually taken out the fish and you have actually treated the fish, sometimes you might not treat the entire tank. You might just treat the fish itself, and then the parasite or the disease, the whatever is messing around with the fish, end up lurking within the tank, and you place another fish in it, and or you place some fish, tank mates in it, and everything is just so messed up. Now you have different type of substrate. I mentioned that yesterday, right? You have gravel, you have minerals such as limestone, some little limestone rocks. You have, yeah, okay, yes, lunar fringe. Yeah, 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 that's true. That's true. As I said, the waste of the fish can come back and harm the fish if it's not removed or filtered properly. And it's not that the filtration system is not there, you know, but you know the filtration system tends to pull the loose material into it, and wherein it is filtered both mechanically, well, not both, mechanically, chemically, and biologically. Usually the plants do that biologically, right? But if the waste is like in, let's say, a solid form, right, and it gradually breaks down, it might take a very long time for it to actually be collected by the filtration system. And during that process, during the breaking down, during the, you know, the melting down of that waste, it causes problem. It alters the chemical chemistry, yeah, the chemistry of the water. It can it can affect the the, the fish, what you call it now, well, aquarium pH, and it can affect the fish health, you know, creating the avenue in which parasites actually lurks in, right? So talking about the different types of substrate, I would not place a goldfish in a gravel substrate, because I don't want a goldfish to be going around and taking up the gravel and then end up you know, swallowing the gravel and it causes a mess. I have a video on that and it will be out soon, right? For shells and corals and minerals type of substrate, I am very careful with that, because that can actually alter the pH, right? Also, when you put peat soil, peat type of soil in the aquarium, right, it allows the water to become soft, right? So it actually laying out. Hey, what on, GRB? Nice seeing you. Thank you, boss. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Yes, the biotope thing. If and that's something that a lot of persons must understand, that even when you're doing the biotope, it is more better. It's more better when you actually have, and it's kind of difficult when you have the type of soil that is more conducive to the plant that exists within the biotope. Because some persons have a biotope, the plants come from all over the place, but the fish come from one region, right? This is not fully a biotope, but that's a different story, as I shared in creating your more your authentic biotope the other day, right? But yes, I agree with you 100%, Fringe. I agree with you, right? So breeding fancy guppy, so as to maintain the strain, the lineage, you know, the coloration, you know, that type of style, that help in having that, in not having a substrate, right? Now bear in mind that some substrate, as I said before, actually adjust the pH of aquariums, right? I promise that I won't be long, but I am now heading into nearly half an hour. I'll be out probably in the next 10 minutes, right? I have to go on the road. All right, so you have soft water and hard water, right? Mineral type of substrate will practically encourage hard water, such as, you know, like when you have decoration or rocks that is made up of limestone, or you have the entire substrate with shells and with you know, with mineral type of stuff, right? You have peat soil, is sold in pet shop, right, for you to actually plant your aquarium. You know, the peat soil is good when actually trying to like mimic or creating as Fringe says, a biotope that reflects that of the Amazon River, right? And fish such as like the Corodorus catfish, you know, the peat kind of good for it, right? The peat soil, yeah, good for like a fish species like the, well, I'm trying to, oh, I found that there was something up. The Corodorus catfish kind of you know, like that. It's good for its health, and you know, the whole breeding thing, yeah, it's good. Then you have sand. right? Some fish, like for example, I was saying that the loaches. Now loaches, if you're gonna have loach, you will have loach with sand and not gravel. Now, some fish love to dig into the sand and turn it over, and all that is just so awesome. It helps to actually turn over the sand, and in turning over the sand, what happens is that the filtration system get a hold of any little waste sediment that might be lurking within the water. So having certain substrate, you would end up have a particular type of fish that probably might be beneficial to you, or might even be beneficial to the fish. So therefore, having a sand substrate, you would have like stingray, right? You would have like loaches. These fish like would bury themselves in the sand, right? And they find it a little bit more relaxing. Right? This along with clay, right? Now clay have some minerals in it. Clay soil substrate have minerals in it. I think it's iron. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, okay. Boss, yeah, man. That's cool. That's cool, JRB. Respect. Respect on that one. Respect on that one, boss. Respect on that one. Alright, so as I said before, I'm not gonna be long. I just want to wrap up in a few minutes. Talking about the whole type of substrate. We're talking about sand. Right? You want a aquatic species that benefits you, right? Okay, you also have leaf substrate. I wonder what's that? Oh, another thing I forgot to point out. In creating your substrate for your aquarium, sometimes you might end up have two different substrates in one aquarium. For example, the aquarium might be so divided with several different species from the same region, because different region they might have several hundreds of different type of fish. For example, India have over 950 fish that is actually just found in that area alone, right? 950 species, right? And that is just what they have actually discovered, right? So you might want to create a biotope like lunatic fringe, right? And so you might end up with half of this substrate being covered with sand and half being covered with gravel. And if you're like me, what you do, you place your plants in trays, and you put soil in the trays, and then you would hide hide the tray in the sand, or hide the tray in the gravel, cover it over, so it would, on the surface it would look like you have only sand and gravel, right? So there you have three different type of stuff in there. But you can also sprinkle some almond leaves there, right, to get the little blackish water like look. Be mindful also that black water is like the pH is like low, right? So the fish species must be able to manage such low pH, right? And these almond leaves, or these leaves in which you place there, some fish likes them. It helps them to breed, it helps them to be healthy, and it actually not mimic or imitate their natural habitat, right? So substrate, it depends on the balance that you want to create within